What's up, team? So I wasn't going to make a video, but it was requested, so I have to do it. I'm going to break down my $1,155 trade on ticker CGC. 2793 is my account number. I'm showing you this to verify the profits. It's not fake profits. These are real profits, not a paper trade. All right. That was posted in my Discord server at 6:41 a.m. You see, I was actually still in the trade at the time that I posted this with 5 contracts. My P&L percent at the time was 27%. But let's go ahead and break down the trade, and then we'll get into what happened following that first sell. So to analyze CGC, we need to go back to the daily chart to understand why it's even making the watch list in the first place. Always start your analysis on the daily chart or the weekly chart time frame. You can just see the major levels of support and resistance and the overall direction of the stock. So we see it's been pushed up, pulled back, pushed up, pulled back. And where was it going to go today, right? So it's been making these higher lows, higher low 1, higher low 2, and higher highs. Remember, we don't see this candle before today on the daily chart time frame. What's more is that it's pulled back to this 200 EMA on the daily. All right, that is a bullish signal or a bullish sign when a stock is holding the 200 EMA as support. So you see we have 4 days last week where this was trading between the 19 level of resistance, we're going to draw a trend line there, and the 200 EMA. Dipped below a couple of times, but ultimately it was pretty close to closing right at that line. So we'll just say it was holding the 200 EMA as a support. Understanding that it's been making these higher lows, it has resistance here, it's been validating the 200 EMA as a support. Did it have pop potential today? Absolutely. If it could break over the 19 level of resistance, that was the play. Right, so we move into the 5-minute chart time frame. We got lines all over the place. Let's delete these and clean this up a bit. Okay, so pre-market, here's the deal. It gapped up a little bit here, and pulled back. So that means that our resistance now is no longer at 19. The resistance is at 1925, right? We're right where this pre-market resistance is. We're going to move that up to 1930. For that reason, we wanted to make sure that it got over 1930 before taking a trade, and confirmed that it was going to indeed move over 19 and not hit this resistance and pull back and reject. So how do we capitalize on this move right here? Understanding that 1925 is the true resistance and not 1930, but we got to push all the way up to here to 1940 on that wick. You had to be a little smart on this place. We're going to move to the 1-minute chart time frame because that's where I like to take my entries on the 1 minute. And I don't recommend that for newer traders. A lot of fake outs happen, but if you're good at reading charts and analysis and price action, you can take entries on the 1-minute chart or 2-minute chart time frame for a better entry than what you'll see on the 5-minute. So here's what I saw, and this is why I took the trade. First of all, I'm going to point this out. 6:34 a.m. That's 4 minutes into the trading session. Okay, keep eyes on CGC over the trigger. I give that to you. I give the contracts to you that I'm looking at. These are the contracts I'm watching. We want that 5-minute candle to close over and hold. So stay patient, but I want this ticker on your radar for now. It's definitely worth watching at the moment. All right, and then shortly after, I took my position. Why? Because here's your pre-market resistance, right? There's your close over this pullback right here. When it broke 1930 and ran up to about 1940, but closed over the closed over this old resistance, 1925. So old resistance becomes new support. That's validating enough for me to want to take this trade and catch this pop move up to the top side. Ran to 1980. Let's see, how long was that? 6 minutes or so. Right, so 6:34 to about 6:40, it hit almost hit the highs. Okay, so right at 6:40, CGC, that's 20% from the first mention and the trigger break on the contracts given. Right, alerted at 6:34, the contracts were at 115, they ran to 140. Simple, 27% ish, $1,155 on that play. Okay. Because I saw it's as easy as seeing this old resistance turning to new support. That enough right there, and the fact that it was over 19, that was enough right there for me to want to take the trade. This is kind of like a bull pennant breakout. I know it's on the 1 minute chart, so it's not really significant, but it's showing you that buyers are interested here. It's pushing up over the resistance. It's already over the major level of resistance, 19. This is a very minor level of resistance compared to what we saw on the daily chart. So you take profits into strength, and you're like, whoa, Gates, so you took profits at 1980. Why would you not hold and catch this entire move up? I'm a profit target trader, guys. I am a profit target trader, and my strategy, the way that I trade, works for me over time. I'm not interested in catching 100% gainers every day. I'm not shooting for the fences. I'm not swinging for the fences. I would rather get in and out of a trade multiple times and catch little snippets of it than to hold through 1 or 2 or 10 trades looking for 100% gainer and watching it come right back down on me and not taking any profits. So I probably could have done a little better. I'll be honest. I probably could have done a little better scaling out. I think where I took profits the first time was perfect. The second time, I probably could have let those profits run, but I didn't. So let's talk about the second entry. Back on the 5 minute chart time frame. Here's your push up and pull back. We're still looking for a dip here to the 1930 level. We didn't really get that, right? It's close enough. I actually was back and forth on this multiple times. So here's your kind of like bull pennant or bull flag formation forming. I really didn't see that bottom line there. I just knew that 1950, we'll draw a trend line there, 1950 was our support. Okay, so do you see where these candles are closing? Actually, on this candle right here, I indicated that I was like, hey, it's breaking support. Just void. We're going to void CGC for right now because this play is not doing what we want it to do. It's actually breaking down. And then it got saved. And this buyback up to the 1950 price point put it right back on radar for us. Okay, so 10 more minutes passed, and then eventually that's when you see we get a break of this downward trend line. We get a confirmation that the support is being validated as an actual support, and that's when I put out alert number 2, 7:33 a.m. I give you the same exact contracts. They're at 125 stop loss. I just drew right over top of that. Let's see if I can find it in the main chat. Okay, so I said your stop loss is going to be, oh yeah, so here's where I said void CGC. It's breaking support, right? And then that candle got saved. And then I actually said I'm about to call it a morning here. Okay, and then shortly after that, CGC worth watching. Here we go. Contracts are at 125, worth watching. Stop loss is at 19.5. So what you want to do in this scenario is this is your support. That should still hold as a support. So take the trade at the break of the downward trend line and use 19.5 as a support. It's okay to not chase this if you didn't like that. We're going to move to the, if you didn't like that initial pop. We're going to move to the 1 minute chart time frame, and I'll show you kind of what happened here. So we're going to delete this trend line there and kind of extend this one out. Look, once you get a break of this resistance, it's the same thing as we had back here, where this old resistance, do you see, then becomes new support. And then the rest is history. It moved straight up after that. So if you missed this initial pop, it's okay to stay patient and wait for a pullback entry. You still could have used the old resistance as new support pullback entry on a diagonal trend line for a good entry. 19.5 was never hit. It got pretty close, a couple pennies off, but it was never hit. Your stop loss should have still stayed in the trade, should have kept you in the trade. And then it moved right back up. So shortly after that, I posted in the alert room, multiple trades there. Okay, yeah, so at 840, that's where I said CGC, that's 20% from this CGC mentioned, 1.25 to 150, so we'll look at 840. And then that's where, okay, yeah, so right there, it was pushing up pretty hard. That's where I wound up taking profits on the second bit of the trade. And in hindsight, I'm looking back like, oh, I should have held, right? Could have held and let this thing run. But I'm happy with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. 2 trades at 20%. You can't be mad. You cannot be mad at that. As retail traders, I think it's very rare that we'll ever have a perfect trade. I also think it's rare that you will catch the entirety of a move. So you want to have the mindset of like, you know, I want to get in and just get my little piece of the pie and then get out. I don't care what happens after. I don't care about all of this. I don't care what happens after I exit the trade. If I'm green and profitable and executed, then I should be happy, right? So don't look back in hindsight and say, yeah, I should have held, you know, next time I take a trade, I'm going to hold longer, because it's very rare that you'll get these massive gainers like this. So this just happened to be one of those trades. We took 2 trades on it for 20% profit to the top side. That was my quick breakdown on it. I hope the video has helped you out. If it has, drop a like. If you want me to do something specific, drop a comment. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for your time, and I'll see you in chat. Bye, guys.